I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.
You know, personally, in the real world, if you ask me, women cannot fight. I watch the Marvel movies like everybody else, and they do front flips and cartwheels, and they take down guys my size with no problem. Sometimes even 2 or 3 guys my size in an elevator. But that's not reality. In the real world, this is how women fight. Women can fight back by just refusing. The way a woman can fight back is by just saying no. Bravery is when everything around you is telling you to comply and you go against it knowing that you're risking everything. This woman is braver than 90% of the men out there. She's saying now what others have been afraid to. A lot of us were afraid. I speak out because I don't care about the consequences. It's really like, what do I got to lose? I'm going to be honest with myself. And I know what it's like when you don't say anything and you watch everything happen to the world around you. Going along to get along is going to get us into bad places in life. My family came to this country fleeing communism. There's nowhere for us to go if this place falls. So we have to speak out and go against it. Right now, this woman is completely dismantling the fear of saying the N-word, a word. Now, I'm watching Black women who have, in the same week that this woman called a kid a nigga, a kid who was stealing from her in her bag. And it's weird. Now everyone who's Black wants to come out and say, oh, the kid was autistic. Was he? Where's his parent? Where's his caregiver? Why is it every time a Black person is caught doing something they have no business, they're suffering a mental episode or mental disability or some kind of disorder? Everything is just a lie to garner sympathy to justify wrong act. We cannot live in a society like that. In a way, if 13% of the population is allowed to criminalize 87% of us, how are we not hostages? We cannot live like that. We can't do it. So this woman is actually breaking it down. Piers Morgan has a knee-jerk reaction. Piers Morgan is a white guy. This benefits him more than anyone else. He is in the UK. He can't talk the way we talk. He would go to prison. He wishes he was here in the States. And I'll be honest with you, I see Piers Morgan within the next 12 months attempting to escape the UK. And if he comes back to the United States, he'll never return to the UK because he's white and they're locking white men like him up for just speaking the truth about immigration, about how their entire country is being overran. Literally, he's on the list too. One false move and he's done. So he has to say stuff like this, even though he doesn't mean it. There's nothing despicable about a word. There's people who are actually out here harming kids, and they're saying that this white woman's words are more violent and damaging than their own actions, which is ridiculous. But let's listen.
Would you use the N-word out of interest? You would?
I do quite frequently.
You use the N-word quite frequently. Well, why? Other than the fact you're a despicable racist. Are you?
So if you're out here insulting a woman, what does that make you? If she's a racist, then you're a piece of shit sexist.
Some would say, I guess according to the ADL, I'm a white supremacist, I'm a neo-Nazi.
Now let's see here. Who is the ADL? Well, the ADL is the Anti-Defamation League. Who do they police in the world? Well, the ADL polices speech against Israel and anyone of Jewish descent, a Zionist. The ADL will come out and literally attack you. If you're running for office, they will fund your opponent so that you would lose your elections. They actually sway a lot of our politics in the United States, and they should be banned. There's been, for one thing, they should be registered under FARA, but they're not. Why not? The ADL has been a huge problem, and I think we're getting around to it because Trump's not dealing with BB. Trump doesn't appreciate the disrespect, people going behind his back in his own administration to do covert ops for Israel. All that is going to change pretty soon. But this is where the bravery comes in. And look at Mark Lamont Hill, this black, weak, gay, fagalist punk who's just on here ready to cry. When Myron put up the nigger gun, oh, we got to play that video again, actually. But let's get to this one.
Yeah,
but if you use the N word repeatedly, you are a racist, then, are you?
I'll embrace that. If that means forwarding, helping white people achieve freedom of speech, real freedom of speech, which, by the way, Shallow Hendricks being.
Well, let's break down what she said. She wants to help white people achieve real freedom of speech. I love it. And I'm 1,000% with her. For one thing, I live in the United States right now. I didn't always live in the US. And one thing I love about being an American is this wonderful document called the Constitution. The people that are mad at her for calling a kid a nigger are black people for the most part and gays. But they're mad about everything, both of those groups. If you're thinking about it, black people don't stand for freedom of speech. Black people overall have a high disdain for the Constitution. And the only time they care about the Constitution and its protections is when they want to use it to their benefit to get out of some kind of trouble. That's not going to fly. The Constitution is just a piece of paper that's only as strong as the men, typically white men with guns, standing behind it, willing to die defending it. I'm on that side. These people want to take away your constitutional rights. The word nigger is just a word. It's no different than cracker or spick or anything. And keep in mind, a lot of these words people don't really use in real life. I'm a man. I've never had or seen another man, especially not unless they were black, throw that word out there and use it negatively against someone. And if they did, so fucking what? Grow up. Be a man. Words should not hurt you. You should not be willing to die over words in a language that's, let you tell it, it's not your native language. English is a white language from England, a white country. If you don't like this English language and you don't like the Constitution, the United States is a very bad place for you to live. Now, you do have options. You can leave and move to the Caribbean. You can move to Ghana. So you can find Kenya in Africa. There's other countries you can go to where there's no white language, where there's no white people for the most part, and you can live there. But if you're going to be in the United States, you will have to respect our Constitution. You will respect our beliefs in free speech. The reason we even have a Second Amendment is because of the descendants of slaves. You cannot live peacefully anywhere in America, anywhere near a major city, because of the threat from black people specifically. There's no other large threat of any demographic in this country that's killing, robbing, doing anything to other people in this country besides the black population. And who is it constantly talking about getting rid of guns and getting rid of the First Amendment? The black population. That's being reversed. We're not doing that anymore. And you know what? And going forward, we're not even humoring those conversations. That's out. You don't like it? Get on a plane. There's about 30 international flights going to Africa every day. Fly the fuck out of here. If you don't like the Constitution, you don't like the First and Second Amendments, leave. Crying about it is just a waste of your time. As a matter of fact, if you're so unhappy and this place is so miserable and as hell, why are you still here? See, we choose to come to this country. We choose to live here. We enjoy it. If you don't enjoy living in this country because you think it's so bad, then leave. Ridiculous.
Attacked on all fronts. They're trying to bring legal charges against her. They're trying to get her children taken away. So you were saying,
and when she says they're trying to bring legal action against her, I've seen the protests. They were blacks and they were gays in front of their Capitol building saying she should be arrested. While you have the same community saying that their black kid stabbing a white kid in the chest was really not that violent. It was self-defense. But she wasn't defending herself against a thieving child when she called him the N-word. Listen, just because she's white, her words are not deadlier than black actual physical violence. In no universe is that going to be the case. Not now, not ever.
Carmelo Anthony, it doesn't matter. That's a
Sorry,
different
but just to
kind
be
of thing.
clear, you just said to me you use the N word regularly. In what context? Do you use it with black people?
Yes, if it's appropriate.
When would it be appropriate? When would it be appropriate?
It's appropriate, I would say, more than half the time when describing someone black that you see on the internet. So we can go through some examples. Here. Now, right here, you see a black kid assaulting a white kid on a bus. The black kid starts to lose, even though he instigated it, because black people see anyone white as a soft target, especially if there's a woman or a child. So that's who they target first. The only time they go after a white man is if they use a vehicle or a weapon because they're deathly afraid of them. Fat, loud, obnoxious black woman gets on the bus screaming about her brother. Your brother was the aggressor. Your brother was attacking this kid. This is an appropriate time to use that word. Let's go down and find another example. Here. Defenseless, lone white kid being bullied at a park by a group of random black thug children. Like a coward, they run from behind him and hit him to the ground. And then they jump him. And now he's bleeding. Or how about that? This is a perfect time to call someone a nigger. Perfect opportunity. You think you're sending your kid to school to be educated. These kids are not educated if there's black kids around them. They don't learn anything except how to fight and how to cower, how to run, how to use pronouns, and how to be gay. That's there's no more learning going on in public schools. That's why everybody's now advocating for you to take your kids out of public school and to homeschool them if you can. You see a lot of parents, but they're only black parents who are screaming at teachers because their kid is in 10th grade reading at a first grade level, when really that's the parent's fault. That's not the job of the teacher to educate your child. That's your job as a parent. You failed. And guess what? The teacher's going to do what he should do and get out of the way. Let these animals fight. Go for it. Get out the way.
Would you please say Xavier?
Now listen, they're mad about Shiloh, but here goes a black woman that no one's mad about. She hit her 9-year-old in the head with a pot for washing dishes wrong, made him place hand on table and broke his finger. But they're mad about a woman for calling the same type of child a black boy. She called him a nigger. They want her arrested and to want her kids taken away. But I haven't seen any protests to get her kids taken away from her. I haven't heard about them. See, these discrepancies, right? They're not going to fly in a civilized world. Not one where there's common sense that will prevail. We will see through it. The days of being shamed into submission are coming to an end. And you guys are going to have to learn how to live with that. Or you can leave. And I prefer leave, because why stay and go to prison or stay and get killed by law enforcement when you can just move to another country and maybe they'll just let you do whatever you want to somewhere else. But here, it's just not going to fly. This is a perfect example of when the N-word comes into play. This is outside of a business, and this is just now these are black women. They're not strong enough to do enough physical damage to each other. That's why you can't really trust women who call for fighting, because they are not the ones that are lethal. Men are. However, black women run black culture. Black women run the black community. It's a matriarchy. Therefore, they can convince men to be feminine and to fight each other. And that's why there's so much violence and murder in the black community, because the men don't realize they can't do what the women do. But they want to be the women because the women have ran all the fathers away. So that's all they know is the woman. There's no strong male role models. You know, and I'm grateful. Yeah, my parents weren't perfect, but at least they were married. At least I can say that. And then I noticed a fundamental difference between myself and others. You know, you start to see it after a while. It's hard to miss. But yeah, so there are terms. So Pierce, you can suck it. There are perfect opportunities, and there are plenty of reasons for why one will use the term.
Out of interest, inappropriate.
And Mark Lamont Hill can cry about it, but guess what? She's not famous. You can't fire her. You can't cancel her. And even if you could, we would not support it. You can cancel yourself and just get away from us. Don't work with us. Don't work with Americans. The black community and Americans are two completely different communities. They don't even consider themselves Americans. So Mark Lamont Hill, you can stay away from the American community and go do your own thing and live in your own communist world. But the best advice about the way things are going and how history plays out, you might want to relocate. Just as just a little bit of advice.
Anytime I feel like it.
And you should be able to use it anytime you feel like it. This is America, and you will continue to be able to use it. I will fight and I will die for your and defend your right to use it, and that's what counts.
You're an unashamed racist.
Right.
Well, do you understand that makes you a despicable human being?
I guess so. I don't really care.
Well, you know what, Pierce? I mean, if you want to give me a blowjob, just say it, because you're throwing around all these compliments, calling people racist and Nazis. You're really that's a compliment nowadays. That's no longer an insult, Pierce. So you might want to update your vocabulary. No one's afraid of being called a racist no more. The word doesn't mean anything. It's being used too much. You don't cry wolf so much. I don't care if a pack of wolves, I don't care if they're die wolves from the Game of Thrones. It's not going to matter. We don't care anymore. We're over it. So we'll just watch everybody cry, and then there won't be much smoke. There is no war. They don't have the resources or the brain power to organize anyway. But just the thought of it alone should make people uneasy about their children and their women. And that's the reason why what's best for them is to leave instead of going to prison or getting put into the dirt by law enforcement, who will, at the end of the day, be forced to protect the Constitution and your right to free speech. I don't give a fuck about what anybody thinks about what words we're going to use. Anyway, I'll be back shortly with another segment. Thank you, and see you soon.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.